from lower back issues, especially if I've been working at my laptop for any length of time, or I've been driving my car. It all leads to that horrible, niggly, achy back feeling that we can all get. So I'm going to show you 3 of my favourite yoga poses for helping alleviate that soreness. So let's get to it. The first one is going to be using the blocks. So I'm going to show you a few different, a couple of different ways of doing this. The first is to get one of the blocks and have it on its lowest level. And you're going to line it up so it's at the base of the shoulder blades. And then the other one, you're going to take, again at the flat level, or the medium level, or even the top level. And the way you decide this is to simply ask yourself, how does my neck feel? And if your neck feels comfortable, then you've got the right height. So that's one setup. Another setup is to have the block under the shoulder the next height up. So it's the same setup. One goes at the base of the shoulder blades and the other, or your head, goes on the block. And as you can see, I've put the block on a higher setting simply because the other block's a little bit higher up now. Now what both of the positions do, so I'd like you to choose one now. I have to move my hair a bit for this top block situation because it's getting in the way. What I'm putting you in is a mild back bend. So this shape helps to counteract the shape we make when we're driving, working at our computer, or looking down at our phones. Now, as you can see, I've got my knees bent, they're not together, my feet are apart now. This is one of my favourite positions for my back. However, you can stretch your legs out, keep them straight, or you can come into Supta Baddha Konasana and let your thighs roll out to the side. So we're going to be a minute. I'm going to stay here a minute just so you can get a feel for the pose, which is called restorative fish pose, if you're interested. So this is a good opportunity to observe your breath. And think about inhaling into the back of the block. And let the exhale sort itself out. And as we focus on the breath, our body's got a chance to relax, our mind's got an opportunity to find some stillness. And with that stillness comes self-awareness, so I really want you to tune into your body now. And I'm hoping you're going to get a sense that the front of your chest is starting to open up. Maybe the heads of the arm bones are melting down towards the floor. Relax your jaws, soften your tongue. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to move through the 3 moves pretty quickly, but of course you can press pause and stay for 10, 15, even 20 minutes in this pose if you really want to. Alright, so we're going to take one more breath and then I'm going to move on to the next pose. So to come out, I'm just going to push myself off the block and take one. I'm going to come back to lying. And I'm going to bring the block underneath my pelvis. Now what this is going to do is start to lengthen out the lower back, and already as I do so I can feel the front body soften in as well as my back lengthen out, and this provides a really good way of easing out your lower back pain. Now this is called restorative bridge pose, and it's one of my favourites. I always do it after the restorative fish. So the restorative fish comes first just to help me open up the chest, get my posture a little bit happier, and then I come into this lovely lower back lengthener. Now you can stay here or you could play about with this, and one way I like to play about is to bring one knee in, give it a little hug, and then slide the other leg out. Now as I slide the other leg out, I'm going to get a really good stretch at the front of the hip, and I can accentuate that stretch by rolling the inner leg down. And sometimes a lot of back pain is caused because the front of our hips get tight, and that's due to sitting primarily. So this shape gives you an opportunity to get some length in the front of your hips, and that will help with your lower back pain. Now again, you can hold this for a bit longer than I am showing you here and demonstrating, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to invite you to swap sides. This is a really good opportunity, using the breath as your focal tool to really connect with your body. Explore how these shapes are creating some change in the front of your hips and how it feels in your lower back. There's one more variation of this shape that I'd like to show you, and that is that you can come into a slightly higher back bend by altering the block. So you might find that after doing a few breaths with the block flat and that the knee in stretch that I just showed you, you might find that this is quite a welcome variation. And then whilst you're here, you can think about melting the back of your rib cage down to the floor, and that will help you get even more length in your lower back. Of course, you've got the option of staying with the block at its lower height as well. So we'll take a couple more breaths here. And then to come out, just press the feet to lift the pelvis up, and then just relax it down on the floor. And we'll just take a little windshield wiper motion, and you might hear a few clicks at the back of your sacrum, which can be very satisfying. And we'll move on to the last shape I've got for you, which is called constructive rest, and in fact it's a variation of this shape. So when you are here, This alone can be a really good reset for your posture and your lower back. I'm going to take it one step further by elevating the legs. So this is where my stool's going to come in handy. A chair works just as well, or a sofa, so whatever you've got to hand. And then you're going to come back into that constructive rest shape. You're just going to elevate the shins. So ideally, you want the knees to be roughly above the hips. And then your hands can be by your side. Palm ups really does help to open up the shoulders. So if you can lie with your palms up, that's great. You can also bring your arms over your head or in a cactus shape, depending on how open you feel in the shoulders. Remember, this is to help with the lower back primarily. So do what feels best for your lower back. And then we're just going to rest here for a while. So you may have noticed I've been so far, we're just resting in these positions. We're not doing any big movements, we're just breathing and helping the body soften and relax. So whilst you're here, I want you to imagine that the top of your leg bones are becoming so heavy. And think about your pubic bone being about the level with your belly button. So it's a really good opportunity to notice if you're a tucker or a tilter. Ideally, you should be somewhere in between. And the way we discover that is to see if our pubic bone and our belly button are the same length. If the pubic bone is higher, then you're probably a tucker. If your pubic bone is lower than the belly button and you have maybe quite a big gap underneath your lower back, then you're probably a tilter. You want to be in between. So you should be able to slide your hand just under your back. Now, obviously I'm using a stool for this variation, but if you have a gym ball, you can actually just do a gentle twist from side to side, rolling under the gym ball, which I sometimes do, which feels rather nice, but we're doing just as much good in this position. I will take another 10 more breaths here. So I just want you to count your breath from 10 to 1. All the while thinking of those top of the leg bone heads coming super heavy. Alright, and with this shape, again, you could stay here for up to 20 minutes, even longer if you wanted to. 10 minutes minimum if you can. We're going to come out now, so this video isn't too long. So to come out, you're just going to gently bring yourself off, roll over to one side, and then we'll push ourselves up to seated. Just take a moment, So even if you didn't pause the video, I'm hoping that you have sensed a little bit of a change in how your lower back feels. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you will give those 3 moves a little go, play around, see what works for you and your body. And I hope that it really helps to soothe away that lower back horridness. Until next time, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the mat again very soon.